Hello, History 2112 students. I hope you had a very nice Memorial Day weekend. Module 1 is now complete. The discussions are now closed, so it's time to move on to Module 2. Just to recap some of the lively discussions we had in Module 1. Group 1 had a very interesting document by Frank Mayer talking about how buffalo hunters killed the golden goose. And I asked them what Mayer meant by that in the context of buffalo hunting. Well, essentially, the hunters were so careless and so wasteful that they wound up eliminating the source of the money that they were seeking through the buffalo hunt. And so they had killed the golden goose. And Group 1, you did a very nice job of discussing how wasteful the buffalo hunt was. Mayer's article is an attempt at a factual, objective account, although, as Group 1 pointed out, maybe not as rigorous as we might like, but still has the ring of truth to it in talking about the buffalo's near extinction in the 1870s. Group 2's document was from Richard Pratt. He was the educator who created the Carlisle Indian School. And kind of a famous phrase from this document, Pratt says that we should kill the Indian and save the man. And Group 2, as you correctly pointed out, what Pratt means by this is that in order to save the Indians' lives, it's necessary to kill their Indian culture and to civilize them according to the standards of white America. And we get an example of that in the document that Group 3 dealt with. This is from a young Indian woman named Zitkala Sa, who went to one of these Indian schools far away in the east. And why did she want to go away from her homeland to the Indian school? Well, she was fascinated by the promises that were made to her, especially the apple trees, that there were abundant apples. She could eat whatever she wanted. She was also very interested in taking a train ride. But when she got to the school, she discovered that it wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and there were some very traumatic experiences for her at the school. For example, one of the first things the teachers did was to take the Indian students and to cut off their long hair. And for Zitkala Sa, this was totally unacceptable. Why? Because in her own culture, in her tribe, the only people who wore short hair, or at least the only women who wore short hair, were people who were in mourning. And it was a sign of grief and in a sense of deprivation. And so, because powerful people wore long hair, she was deeply shocked at the destruction of her hair. So here we have one of those cultural misunderstandings that, in a way, really prevented meaningful exchange between Indians and white people in the 19th century. But Group 3, I thought you gave an excellent answer to the question, was Zitkala Sa's time at the Indian school totally negative? As a matter of fact, even though in a way she was miserable there, as you put it, it was a positive lesson learned from a negative experience. In other words, she was able to use the education she got there to go on to college, to become a writer, and then to go back to the reservation and to help her own people. So there was some good that came even out of that very difficult experience for her. All right, well, good job on the first set of discussions. One thing you've learned by now, I'm sure, is that you need to start discussing early. To really get the discussion going, you need to post your initial comments near the beginning of the module, not near the end. If you leave your initial post to the end of the module, well, you're not going to be able to participate in the discussion, and your grade will be lowered accordingly. I'll have these grades up very soon for these first discussions. But right now, just a couple more notes as we move into the second module. Be sure to read the instructions for your writing assignments. that are posted in Module 2, and also the PowerPoint, which will help you do your first assignment, which is to find an article on the library's Galileo database, to write a summary of it and to include the citation for it, that is the bibliographic information for where it came from in MLA format. So you need to get started on that. That assignment, that first written assignment, will be due at the end of Mod 3, that is close to midnight on June the 12th. Also, looking ahead to the first exam, which will be open June 12th through 14th, that's a Sunday, Monday, and a Tuesday, need to go ahead and take action in setting up an appointment for this exam, because it needs to be a proctored exam. And I've given you instructions on that in the syllabus. Please, if you haven't already done so, read the document in the Start Here folder, Darden College Proctored Exams. This will help you a lot. Basically, you have three options. If you take the exam on campus, you can use the Darden College Testing Center, but you need to make an appointment with them ahead of time online. You can use ProctorU, but you also need to set up that appointment ahead of time. And finally, you may be able to use another proctor off campus, but if that's the case, you must submit a form, which is also in the Start Here folder, the off-campus proctor form, to the online education office in advance in order to schedule this exam. So just wanted to get that on your radar screen as I look forward to continuing through this summer experience with you. Finally, just a brief comment. Some of you have probably wondered, why does he take this strange approach to education online? I've never seen anything like this before. Why is he doing this to us? Well, it's not to torment you. Let me just explain. I firmly believe that education has to be active learning, and I've seen the results of this in my own classroom. I used to be a very much by the book teacher. Read the textbook, have reading quizzes, have an exam, give lectures with very little discussion. And I just got tired of the results of that. I got tired of the glazed eyes of my students who were obviously bored to death. I got tired of the poor performance on exams because students had not been given the opportunity to make this material their own through engaging with it constructively. And so I started doing active learning techniques, especially a lot of group work and this type of document discussion in the classroom. And I really believe that this is one of the advantages of the online learning format, in that these discussions now can be carried on over several days so that you can go really deep. You really have time to think before you post, and to work out excellent answers to go very much deep into these documents in this online format. So I want to thank you for staying with me on that, and for your cooperation there. I think we're all getting the hang of it now, and just encourage you to ask me if there's anything I can do to help you moving forward. Finally, I really believe that education must be a learning experience. And I just don't have any interest in teaching as a method of jumping through hoops, just getting you closer to getting that piece of paper, as if this were kind of a diploma mill, one of those for-profit schools. I really do believe that that is depriving you of something that you can really only get as part of the college experience, which is a true learning experience. And it would be easier for me just to go the old textbook quiz route, have the computer grade my quizzes and so forth, but I'm willing to put in the extra effort to make this something kind of special for you, and I want to thank you for responding as you have. Well, that's it. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to reading your comments and posts this week.